Hey, this is Sky. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Go check out my website at skysworld.com for life coaching and mentoring. I've never been a country music fan, but there was this line in this Kenny Rogers song, The Gambler. It came out when I was a kid, The Gambler. They used to have a video on MTV for it. And he said, you got to know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em, know when to walk away, know when to run. That's a good line. That's a lesson in life. You know, one of the tricks to success is having patience in your process, to be patient. We get impatient and want to move, and we can move backwards and we can move sideways. Sometimes our forward growth is limited. And we get impatient. And you force yourself to move in a direction that isn't a growth direction. The only direction you're going to find your growth is forward. I was talking with a buddy of mine this past week. He came over the house with his family, enjoyed the pool. We had a couple really hot days, 95-degree days, and his kids really needed some pool time. We're just chilling, and he asked me very honestly, have I thought about or would I ever move back to California? And I had a pretty good laugh at that question, because the answer, I don't have to think about it. The answer is absolutely not. I'm not going back to California because I will go backwards in life. And he was kind of puzzled and said, well, why would it be going backwards in life? And I said, look, I have a house with a pool. I live in a nice neighborhood. I have a great life here. I'm really, really happy with my life. The amount of money that I make and my budget and all that, keeping that in mind, that I'm living in a relatively affordable state. Florida's very affordable. California is not very affordable. I would have to give up my lifestyle. In order to move back to California, I would probably, most likely, have to live back in a low-income area. The rent in a low-income area in California would cost probably twice as much as what my mortgage costs me here to have this house. So, no, I'm not giving up a house with a pool that you and your family can come and enjoy and sit in my big giant backyard. Why would I give this up to go live back in the barrio where there's guys selling heroin out front of my house? Just so I can say, well, I'm back in the West Coast, you know, with my tattoo. I'm back where I belong. He didn't really get it, but a lot of people don't get it. A lot of people don't understand that you never move backwards. You don't give up a good job for a shitty job. You don't. I've owned my own motorcycle shop in Los Angeles for about 2.5 years. Started it from nothing, built it to a pretty decent business. We were on the come up, and then we moved here. Moving here to Florida cost me around $5,000, maybe $6,000. Paying the moving trucks and putting money down on a place and whatever. That set me back. I'm not rich. I don't know what your budget is like, but $6,000 cash just out of nowhere, I had to pull that out of my ass. That hurt my budget. And I couldn't rent a warehouse and I couldn't start my shop the day that I moved to Florida. So there was about a 5-6 month period where I was trying to plot and scheme on how to get a warehouse and how to start my motorcycle shop up. And I thought about getting a job down at Arlen Ness Motorcycles. They didn't have a position, and they told me that they could put me in as the janitor. And I laughed in their face and I said, look, I own a motorcycle shop, and I did for 2.5 years in Los Angeles. You've probably heard of me. I'm not going to clean your bathrooms. Now, a buddy of mine was just like, well, why not, Sky? It's a job, and you'll be a foot in the door, and it might be able to grow to something, and maybe he was right. But I'm not starting from there. I don't go backwards in life. I'm staying in where I'm at. I took this hill, and I'm keeping it. I'm not retreating from it, and I'm going to move forward and take the next hill. Even if it means I have to have some patience in this process. Some people are so impatient, they just think any movement at all is progress, and it's not. Only forward growth is progress. You see, just like that old song from The Clash, should I stay or should I go? You have to know when movement is necessary and when movement isn't. Sometimes, very rarely, sometimes a lateral movement is necessary in order to get around an obstacle, right? Got to do a little sidestep, and then you can go forward. But that has to be carefully plotted out. If you're just walking around like that, you look like a weirdo. The only time that sidestep is a normal movement is when it's in front of an obstacle that you're getting around. Otherwise, you're just doing some silly dance down the street, making your own life harder, expending a bunch of energy. Some people just don't get this type of conversation. My buddy didn't. And I do think that him, along with a lot of other men that I know, spend their lives wasting time in lateral movements or going backwards somehow, thinking that starting over is going to help you go forward faster. And in my world, it doesn't work that way, because I only move forward. It's food for thought.